Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish content. I'm posting a bit more irregularly now, but if you want to know that there's a new video up, you can go ahead and activate the notification setting. I was catching up on some of my favorite booktubers content and I saw Audrey from Audrey Approved. I'll link her channel down below. I saw her do the mid-year book freakout tag and I thought, wow, it's already at that time of the year. We're already over halfway through the year. This is crazy. It's one of my favorite tags to watch, so I figured, hey, let's catch up on what I've been reading so far this year by answering these questions. I'll put the names of the original creators as well as the questions in the description box so you can pick and choose which one of these questions you want to answer in the comment section. Number 1, how is your reading going? My reading is going fine. My end of year goal is 32 books. I have read 14 books so far this year, which I know that for booktube standards, both of those numbers are quite little, but I knew that what's been going on with my job and life that I'll just have to take it a bit slower this year, and I have been reading, just reading at a slower pace. So I'm very confident that I'll make up the 3 books that I'm behind right now. And also it's summer, there's a lot going on. I feel like the city and just social life has been coming alive. I'm confident that as soon as the weather gets a bit worse, there's way more indoor time and way more time for reading. What's the best book you've read so far in 2025? I would say it's Cleaned Out by Ernaux. This book moved me so much while I was reading it. I was feeling all the emotions and I got over invested while I was going through this fairly short novel. This is the debut novel of Ernaux. She's a French writer. I read the German translation of this book and she's actually one of the few female Nobel Prize winners for literature, which is why I highly recommend you checking out her works. This is the story of student Denise Lesourd, who gets an illegal abortion back in the 60s in France. And the story is not so much about the abortion, but about her reflecting on her upbringing, on her childhood, and what that has to do with how she feels about her current situation. But I'd say it's really more a reflection on her past, on herself, on how she views education, how her relationship with her parents evolved over the years, and how that changed as she got older. I just loved how it explores so many facets of her life and how it linked so many elements together. So the element of coming of age, growing up, what it means to suddenly become an intellectual when you come from maybe a smaller village and from a family that did not go to school and does not have a higher education. It's also about her becoming a woman and her friendships and her relationship to her own body. It's very moving and I just didn't expect it at all because I thought, okay, this is the debut novel. I didn't set the bar really high, but I was extremely positively surprised and I gave this 5 stars. I don't have the copy here right now, but I tapped the heck out of that book. Next question is, what's the best sequel you've read so far in 2025? I have read no sequel yet this year, but I want to, which leads me to the next question, which is new release you haven't read yet, but want to. The number 1 book on my list is the 3rd and last book of The Maid by Nita Prose, which is The Maid's Secret. I've been putting this off because I just love this character so much and I'm going to be so sad once I finish this cozy mystery series, but I'm very much looking forward to reading this book. The next question is, what is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Well, this is technically a cookbook, but I got so excited when I saw that this author is bringing out a new book. It's Good Things by Samin Nosrat. Samin Nosrat is the woman who wrote Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which is a beautifully illustrated, very educative? English is not my first language, people. A very great book for people who want to learn the science behind cooking without being too hard to understand. There's also the Netflix series that's based on that book, which is called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. It has 4 episodes where you deep dive into each of those topics. It is fantastic. I need to rewatch that series and I'm so excited that she's coming out with a new cookbook. I don't know if this is the kind of cookbook where there's also a lot of anecdotes in between. I don't know if this means that there's a new show coming up. I really hope so. This woman taught me how to make foolproof aioli, and I haven't looked back since. What has been your biggest disappointment? For me, this is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I've heard just absolutely raving reviews about this mystery book, which is why I picked it up. It's one of my favorite genres. Turns out it's 100% mixed media book, and I had to learn the hard way that this is just not how I like to consume my books, especially not thrillers or mysteries, because it felt quite redundant and very lengthy, and it didn't feel like I was reading a book that had a nice flow to it. It felt quite choppy. So it is not so much the story or the mystery in itself, it's just the type of book I discovered is just not for me. I should add that going into this book, I didn't know that this is going to be the format. I didn't know that it's mixed media. So unfortunately, no more Janice Hallett books for me, but if you love that type of book, then maybe you should check it out. But I was let down and I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. What has been the biggest surprise? I'm going to answer this in the negative sense. So The Lies of Locke Lamora. I've been putting this fantasy book off for a long time, but I was so sure that when I pick this up, it's going to be a 5 stars because it's the beginning of a fantasy series that a lot of people love. A lot of people have compared it to Six of Crows, and they said that they prefer this. I didn't, unfortunately. I did finish it because I wanted to know what happens in the end, but this was just way too wordy for my taste. It was very, very overly descriptive to the detriment of the characters because I just felt like I really couldn't bond with them. And I expected a bit more of twists and turns and yeah, just clever ways that the story unfolds that I didn't see coming, but nothing really in there surprised me in a sense. So that was the surprise for me, that I didn't love this book as much as I hoped. So this one also in the end I gave 2 out of 5 stars. What is a favorite new author, debut or new to you? Definitely Annie Ernaux. So I've read Cleaned Out, but before that I also read her short story The Young Man, where she describes her relationship as a professor in her 50s with a younger student. I think he's in his 20s. That was super short, but it got me into, okay, what her writing style is. And while it was too short for me to give a full 5 stars, I was right away super motivated to pick something else up by her. And now I want to read the rest of her books because it was a 2 out of 2 for her now. Just a great author. The next 3 questions are newest favorite character, book that made you cry, and book that made you happy. I will answer all of these 3 questions with one book. I know this is kind of cheating, but it's just very fitting, and I haven't read that many books this year. So yes, I'm cheating a little, but it's Maid by Jessica George. This was also a 5-star read that just had it all. It made me laugh, it made me cry, and Maid is just, the main character is one of my favorite heroines that I've read about this year. This is a debut novel by UK writer Jessica George, and I'm so impressed that this is the first book this woman has ever written because it was just everything I wanted. I didn't even know that I wanted it. This is a story about Maddie. She's a young woman in her 20s with Ghanaian parents, and she just has a lot on her shoulders at the point of the story. So she's struggling with her job that she needs, but she kind of dislikes. She's not very fulfilled there. She bears the responsibility for her dad because he needs quite a bit of medical assistance, so she's always there for him, while her mom is currently in Ghana because she always flies back and forth and sometimes spends months and months over there. She has an older brother, but he's a little bit out of the picture. He's just kind of doing his own thing. So in the end, everything just kind of falls on Maddie's shoulders. So while other people maybe her age are out finding themselves getting great jobs and moving out of home, she feels like she's a bit behind. Her mom returns though and encourages her to move out, and that kind of starts her journey of finding herself. I was a huge fan of the writing style. I think it encompassed very well like this contemporary feel of this novel. It felt very flowy, and it really did make me laugh out loud sometimes. And I definitely had my moments where I was crying because the relationship she has with her parents is, you know, with how much responsibility she has, I felt really bad for her. But at the same time, I like how her character develops. I just really love this. I mentioned this before, but I even cried at the acknowledgements. That's how emotional this book made me feel. And Maddie is such a great heroine because there's something about, and I also said this before, these breakout female characters who, you know, discover themselves and go on a journey. That's just something I really, really love reading about. That's actually the reason why somebody had suggested this book to me. Now I remember, because I was reading another book. It was what was it called? The Last Chance Library. And I said that I really loved characters like this because the main character in that book by Freya Sampson also went through that kind of thing. And somebody in the comments suggested to read Maid, and here we are. So if you have yet another suggestion for me, then please let me know. What's the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? I really didn't buy a lot of books this year because I'm on a journey on trying to read what I have. But I'd have to say the copy of The Maid that I just got is near and dear to my heart because I went to a book panel and the author was there and she ended up, signing my book with a little message. So yeah, I'm really happy that I have this copy now. Last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So many. Most importantly, I want to read Astra by Cedar Bowers and Babylonia by Constanza Casati, because these are the two books that my boyfriend got me at the end of the year in our tradition that he buys me random books that I've never heard of, preferably, and I never carry these over into the next year so that he can do the same thing again next year. So these are the two that I, no matter what, will read. Definitely Blood Marked by Tracy Dion. I've been saying that I want to read the sequel of Legendborn for such a long time, and I actually have in fact reread the first book in the beginning of the year in preparation for this book, but yeah, my reading plans just kind of went out the window. And then there's another book that I got as a Christmas gift last year, which I also don't want to carry into next year, which is Jins by Fatma Aydemir, which is by a Turkish-German author. I just named 4 books and I still have a few books to go until my end of year goal, so I think it should be achievable. I would be so happy to hear some of your answers to these questions, so pick 1 or 2 and let me know your answer in the comments. If you have any suggestions for me on what I should read next, then please let me know as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you just want to let me know that you made it to the end of the video, then why don't you leave me a sun emoji? Just because it's summer right now here where I am and it's beautiful. Thank you so much for watching and tuning back in. I hope you're having a great summer so far. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.